Over the past 75 years, more than 10,000 chemicals have entered our food supply, but the EU allows just 300 additives. At Thrive Market, we prioritize quality, banning over 1,000 ingredients found in conventional grocery stores. Our Healthy Swap scanner helps you find better versions of your pantry essentials without the junk, dyes, or fillers, and everything is delivered right to your doorstep. So shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health at thrivemarket.com/get started for 30% off your first order and a free $60 gift.
We will not be held responsible for any hearing impairments or damage caused to you from excessive exposure to this sound.
Friday, September 21st, 2012. It is early again. I'm not used to this, and I'm sorry, to be honest with you.
I'm sorry, looking at me.
What? Hey, Sean, and Kids Radio.
I'm watching the A's Yankees right now, the extra inning. So let me know whenever we're ready.
Well, fantastic. You know, for about a minute and a half, and
no, we're not.
I'll get you to admit some stuff that you didn't even realize.
Yeah, no, we're not. Just go ahead and shut it off, and let's start this when this game is over.
How are you, brother?
So well. How are you?
I'm all screwed up because
that's just how you were born. I know, and I love you for it anyways. So
I've never been normal when I start now.
Oh, exactly. So therefore, it's not all screwed up by your standards.
Well, I get a funny story before we get into it. Tonight we're going to talk about the follow-up.
Yeah, okay, that's great. So what's your fun story?
Phone number is 346-593-99. No, so
I know that. Why are you?
Earlier today when you called me and said, hey, we have to move the show time up a little bit, I was like, all right, great. I'll get on Twitter, and I was on my phone because I was out and about. So I tried to put due to unforeseen circumstances. Our show is going to be early in the evening. Do you even know where I'm going with it?
I can only imagine.
Well, it ended up going.
Does that have anything to do with the bris? He's nodding his head up and turning beet red.
Almost 1,100 Twitter followers got to the effect of due to unforeseen circumstances. That'll correct tick over. And,
yeah, because apparently you type circumcisions more than you type circumstances. So that's scary in and of itself. Wow, to correctly default to that one.
I ended up going out to all of my Twitter followers, so I took a screenshot. You can save that forever.
We need to put that on our site.
Up on our site.
Have we had any photos, by the way?
Well, now that Rooster's back up, post everything when conservative.
Yeah, he's back.
So he's back live. I have to go in this week and start updating all the audio on our side of it, the forums. There is
a picture.
There's one picture in there that Rooster put up.
Like a fastball picture? Or
no, like a photograph.
Okay.
The future of Sackheads of America, and it's this great picture of a pig sitting in a carriage screaming its head off and somebody holding an Obama mask to her.
Nice.
I got quite a kick out of that, actually. How are you?
What?
The
space shuttle did a flyover of California today.
Yeah,
the Endeavor.
Super impressive.
So it came back. Did you get a chance to see it?
It came nowhere near me.
Okay.
And it was really early in the morning, somewhere between like 11 and 12, or a little bit.
It's supposed to be 9:30. I think it actually was 9:45.
I wasn't awake. So I just finished moving this week, so I'm not doing anything. And my house honestly looks like a U-Haul storage facility, and it's going to stay that way for a while.
No, that's perfect. I like it.
I had a brilliant idea of pulling out just enough clothes to get through the move and put the rest in boxes and everything, so I've been wearing the same.
That was a really good idea. Now, did you take like one pan out so you have something to
no,
put something in? Okay.
So I've been wearing the same clothes where I've literally been washing everything once a day to rewear it, like get my other clothes on.
I didn't want to say anything to you. Now, one thing I did notice that
Groundhog Day.
You're also using the same paper bag because that's the same Bill Warren bag that you had last week.
This is the one we're going to sign.
And the week
I
before?
can somebody takes a picture of themselves with the Constitution before the end of the month.
No, I think it's only a week. I think it's all
We
today.
give it to the end of the month.
Okay.
We give it to the end of the month. So take a picture of yourself with the Constitution. Email it to failedsack@radio.com. You'll get a warrant sack with our signature, probably worth, I don't know, what's the postage?
No, I don't even think it'd be worth the postage. I think it'd be like the cost to recycle the paper bag. So a couple of cents.
Hey,
But that's something, right? It's a start of this economy. Everything helps.
stimulating the economy.
Right.
So a lot to talk about this week.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we were done already.
No, we're still
You
going.
realize the game's still on, right?
And you're going to have to deal with it. We have a show to do. Listen, we literally have like 10, 12 people.
By the way, I have one question to ask you, and it's yes or no. Just yes or no. That's all you can say.
No.
Okay?
Well, we solved twice tonight. Join in next week.
Perfect. Yes or no? Okay. So I hear that you are currently an A's fan.
No.
Okay. Because they were playing the Yankees, I'm for sure that
The A's.
you would.
I'm
No.
rooting for no, I can root for the A's.
Not if you're not.
I am.
That makes you a fan.
I'm a fan of the Red Sox, and I root for anyone who's playing the A's.
Whoa. For anyone who's playing. So you're rooting for the Yankees right now. Anybody in Boston, you just a Boston Red Sox fan.
I've lost all my time.
So he's rooting for the Yankees.
I'm rooting for. Don't put that on me.
You,
It's early in the morning right now. It's 7:05 at night. I'm not used to this.
I made you coffee. I made you coffee.
Hey, listen, I know you keep trying to I love it. I appreciate that. Every
quote.
time you bring me Dunkin' Donuts, I love you a little bit more.
You love me a lot. What are you talking about? You wouldn't even do this show and put up with all my shenanigans if you did.
What about you? What's going on with you this week?
It doesn't matter.
No, it does. It matters to me.
I'm completely dejected
Listen,
now.
It's just me and you talking right now.
No,
It's just
I'm
me and you.
totally dejected.
No. Come on, tell me. You look sad. Are you sad?
I don't want to talk about it.
Hey,
What?
I don't know. I just keep saying hey tonight.
I know.
Oi. How about oi? I'll just say oi all the time.
You
That's
can't do
not
that.
doing it all.
Romney released his tax return.
Yeah, it's 2011 tax returns.
He's, you know what? This guy, I don't know what his deal is, but he's so rich, he should be donating a lot of money to charity.
I think he did.
He only donated like, what, $4 million?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, in 2011?
Yeah.
He got more than that.
30% of his income.
We probably need the other 70% for it. I mean, think about it, really. He has way too much.
Well, he invests $4 million a year into charitable contributions. He still owns businesses, I believe. He has a family. I'm sure he has other plans for it. And you know what? The fact he overpaid his taxes in 2011.
No.
Yeah.
That makes him a president because he wants to give the government more money.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. So we nailed
So,
it.
hey, thank you for making it. So Obama should totally like him then, right?
Well,
Obama should support him for president
The
now.
only reason he overpaid his taxes is he didn't get the most out of his deductions. He chose not to do that. So he donated a lot of money and then didn't choose to take every allotment for the.
Well, since Mitt Romney is a capitalist Republican, I'm sure Obama donated more money than Romney did, right, percentage-wise.
Positive at this point.
Well, let's take a look. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Forget I said anything.
Hold on, I'm still looking.
Yeah, no, he was, Obama donated approximately 7%.
They dropped a quarter in the box they have at the next to the cash register at a convenience store. That's going to count for something.
That counts, right? Yeah. They take a penny, lose a penny. Problem is he's taking a bunch of pennies, maybe. I don't.
A handful and left one.
Right.
He didn't realize that it's either or, so he took a giant handful out of the tin
Of pennies.
and put one back. He said, hey, took one and left one. What's wrong with that? And I just summed up his whole financial plan for the 4 years.
You know, and for the previous 4 years.
Yeah, well, that was a gimme. I didn't think I had to be obvious.
Yeah, so Romney donated an average of 13.5% of his adjusted gross income over the last 20 years, according to a report from theblaze.com. And Obama donated less than 7% of his adjusted gross income to charities.
Because man is so much richer than Obama that he can afford it.
Right. So
I'm sure that's going to be out there somewhere. I'm sure some leftist lunatic is like, well, yeah, but he's had so much more money and he was born in a well.
Oh, I'm sure. And what I really like is Obama's going to come out and say,
When he was living four-bedroom apartment with his wife in Detroit. But, that shows you how rich he was his whole life.
You know Kid Rock, you think?
I hope so. We can get him to meet us.
I hope so.
So when you call Mitt this week, see if he knows Kid Rock. He'll come in and play like an acoustic set.
Ooh.
Be like me, you with the bongos.
You know what we need? You know what we need Kid Rock to do is okay, I'm done. I'm leaving the show. The New York Yankees just walked off home run and won the game in the bottom of the 10th. So I'm going to go and close out.
Well, I mean, you still have a few minutes too.
Okay, hey, thanks. Fat Kids Radio. I'll talk to you later.
That sucks. The Yankees.
And you know why they did it? Because you said that you were rooting for anybody who played the A's. You jinxed them.
Now it's about jinxes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You don't believe in jinxes?
I don't believe in
Mr. Baseball fan?
I don't believe in jinxes.
I
I believe in curses. For 6 years, but that's something totally different. I believe in jinxes. What am I, some sort of lunatic?
Yeah.
I did everything in my power to exercise the curse of 86 years, but I won't touch you. Stupid. Well, I look like a jerk.
You don't look like you've exercised anything. Apparently you're trying to exercise a jinx.
I've got 16-ounce curls, and I think I do, what's it called, pizza burpees? Something like that. We just shovel as many pizzas in the mouth at the same time. What is going on?
I don't know.
We had a show plan and we lost.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
No, we didn't. I'm totally thrown off my,
Why?
Because Oakland lost.
Oh.
Golf. Are you kidding me? To New York.
Why don't we stick what we know?
I just know that the A's lost.
You're right. So why don't we stick what we know?
Okay, that's great.
Here's what we do now, and so you know, this is probably
nice segue, by the way. Did you learn that in broadcasting college? Yeah.
Yeah. My the time I actually went to broadcasting college and used the bathroom, I learned a lot that 35, 40.
You walked through and saw that on a slide.
The show knows for a fact that neither one of us has ever gone to any sort of podcast education at all.
Do you have such a thing?
Yes, they do.
Really?
Yeah. You can go to school for this.
People from CNN and MSNBC. Seriously, I'm glad I've never gone then.
Well, no, most of them went to and got their liberal arts stuff, and then
liberal. I get it.
What's wrong with that? Let's move on. Did you know Ambassador Citizens at one point said he was on the hit list?
Yeah. That was interesting. What do you got now?
Show if you don't play along. You see how this works? I say something, and then you say something, and then we discuss for 15 minutes. And then we take a break and go, hold on.
You said something.
You say something. Stop it.
I said yeah.
I'm talking. I have the talking stick.
You didn't say anything else. Okay.
I forgot what I was saying. Go ahead.
Hey, I read a report that Ambassador Stevens said he was on the Al-Qaeda hit list.
That's incredible. I didn't hear that. What? Did they comment on that?
You did.
No, so...
Now, if he was on an Al-Qaeda hit list, and that's kind of weird how the spontaneous protest just kind of sprung up and he ended up getting killed. And then they carried his body to, go get help, but it looked like they're parading him around.
Well, and this comes from the Atlantic Wire, where I'm getting this information, is that after the firebombing in June and other threats, he was worried about the assault on 9/11, and he passed along that information, even though the White House, up until, I think, today, said that it was an opportunistic attack, and that it wasn't pre-planned and all that good stuff. And he at some point even mentioned that he was on the Al-Qaeda hit list. So that's a shock to nobody. It's sad, again, that we had intelligence and we didn't use it. We would beef up security even though it was 9/11 coming around. I don't know if they figured that he'd done so much to help the Libyan people during their revolution that it wouldn't happen or whatever. But he had, I think, 5 personal bodyguards at the time of the attack. The 2 ex-Navy SEALs, I've heard conflicting reports, but I don't believe they were on necessarily his duty detail, but working in the area out of the embassy for intelligence gathering. And correct me if I'm wrong on that. So they were rushing back from what I heard, and I said last week, to either assist or they got wind of the attack. That's when they were slain. So it's just ridiculous that, contrary to the White House said immediately that this whole attack was over this damn video that we all knew a week ago was BS. We were saying that.
Yes, we did. And we also did a show. They've been killing us and enslaving our people for...
And last week you gave us a history dating back to, 1780s?
1780s.
1780s. The Muslim extremists have been attacking Americans and even enslaving them.
Terrorists. And it wasn't until...
For reparations last week.
Well, I did, because of Americans being enslaved, so I think that we should get reparations. You know, Obama and the Justice Department and they banned the World Court thing, so why don't they go after them in the court and let's get reparations for the American people?
Well, you know...
And for us, our representatives not here when that was going on, and that was in Europe. For enslaving Europeans. So I think we need reparations. I think the world needs reparations from the Muslim world.
Yeah, well, I can't disagree with you there. It's never going to happen. But you also know that...
well, no, because we keep giving them money.
Everything they want, yeah. We keep giving them all the money in the world. Funny thing is, you haven't released a report that's saying they're condemning the anti-Islamic movement and the... French magazine that released some pictures of the Prophet Muhammad.
Oh, that's good. So they're condemning our free speech.
Yeah.
And France's, I don't know if they have free speech or not, but they should. And
I think they technically do.
Not the attacks, right?
Right.
Well, yeah, because why would the UN condemn the attacks and the murder of 4 United States diplomats?
America deserve it, in their opinion. People are about the UN, but I think 8% of the, maybe even higher, of the countries of all hate our country.
I am again calling for the United States to kick the UN out of New York and to stop all funding to the UN.
I think that building would make an amazing VA hospital.
I think that building would make an outstanding headquarters for Crackheads Radio.
I don't know if I can afford the rent.
Yeah, just give it to us. I'm sure they're giving it to the UN.
Well, you know, and they're pretty much, this administration is all about giving away everything anyhow, so why shouldn't they just give it to us? We're needy. Look, nobody is more needy than we are. we need a better show. So, yeah.
Until yesterday, that White House Press Secretary Jay Carney, I love that guy. Also, he's such a condescending little weasel. I'd love to do an interview with him.
I couldn't sit in the room with him for that long. I couldn't.
Why not?
I would just stare at him with those stupid hipster glasses that he wears.
Right.
And
the first time he got condescending, just grab him by the...
See, that would be my fear, is that I wouldn't be able to... You know, I'm pretty good at controlling myself. I'm afraid that I would not be able to control myself with him.
You know, you're not a violent person, though.
I'm not.
But you would talk harshly at him.
I would scream at him. And the best part is he wouldn't be able to understand me.
I think the press corps lets him get away with a lot of stuff. It's just that he's so condescending. Anytime he gets any little question that he doesn't like or that he... And a lot of times the press doesn't go with it. Once in a while, they'll hold him accountable.
Yeah, and we're going to play in a little bit from Bill Plant of CBS, kind of back at him. You know, some other guys, Jake Tapper goes at him occasionally a couple times. We've heard a couple clips in the past of...
It's not often.
But it's not enough. He's allowed to just skate through, and nobody even tries to question him on it. And he doesn't even move on, where he just, like, finishes what he has to say and moves on. And be like, well, we're not talking about that. He's just, you know what, he's just scumbag.
Hey, dirtbag, you work for us.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, but you represent the White House and the president who works for us.
And the few reporters that are actually doing their job and trying to get the legitimate answers and not just swallowing the White House Kool-Aid, they deserve responses. You know, I go back to the whole thing about when they were talking about Jerusalem and the White House, you know, what the White House views as the capital of Israel. And he just kept trying to sidestep the woman's question. And even if you think she knows, you can't just say you know the answer to that because you don't want to answer it. You know,
you can. It's kind of like nanny nanny boo boo.
I thought it was supposed to be the most transparent White House to date, and there's absolutely zero transparency. And he is the forefront of it. He changes information around however he wants and sees it however he wants until he gets backed into a corner and everyone proves him otherwise.
Okay, devil's advocate. That is his job.
Right.
But Well, I disagree. I think that's what maybe the administration wants him to do, but his job should be to give the press facts,
Yes.
and to answer to the American people through the media.
No, I think that's a absolutely great point. Is we pay his salary, we pay the president's salary, we elect a president. They work for us.
Yes.
Should that job not be to give us the facts and not the spin?
It is, except for the case of national security. I can completely understand and support that.
Absolutely.
And then say that, hey, in interest of national security, I'm unable to disclose that information.
But like we said, he gets
Boom.
asked most.
And then he has to end it with a boom.
Yeah, no,
Like you would do when you're my press secretary.
boom.
Yeah.
Just like that. That would be pretty damn funny.
Would that be awesome?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I've answered that, but in the interest of national security, I'm unable to do so. Boom.
Well, then he's also going to throw up 2 middle fingers as he walks back out of the room. You know what I mean? Just like backs away from the podium. What? And then I would pop a beer before I got off stage.
You pop a beer before you got on stage,
Well, I'd carry one on.
and then you pop another one
Right.
before you got off stage.
I'd pop one more, too.
Right.
I almost want to accent my appearance. And what better way to do it than to pop a beer?
Well,
Because I know in the country, all of a sudden, that's something, too. You notice, like, it used to be cool for guys and gals even to hang around and have a couple beers. And it would be okay. And the press are trying to do it to look cool. But even on TV, they're like, you don't see it that often anymore. Remember Archie Bunker used to sit down and shit? That's all he used to do is sit there and drink beer.
yeah.
I think that needs to come back more. I'm just saying all television shows need to work that into the plot a lot more.
Drinking beer?
Yeah. Sorry. We just had a small explosion in the room. You know? Call screener almost just, it looked like her head was going to really blow off her shoulder.
I think she lifted completely off chair,
Are you okay?
which was awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought you wanted to get in this. I thought you had some sort of something to bring up, but apparently not.
Was that anger or...
So,
You're frustrated with Jay Carney also, aren't you?
yeah, you can just see the look on her face. She was. If you could see it, you
just made her head explode, just so you know.
There we go, Jay Carney.
Yeah, good job.
If that happened, I would have to call it Jay Carney killed our call script.
Wait, so was that an attempt?
Hey, FBI, now that you're listening, we're glad you have me on the air.
They've been listening all the time anyways. Not real cops.
Please, if you want to call in, the number is 347-205-9399. We'd love to hear your side of this.
As they walk me away in handcuffs, not real cops, not smart ass.
You're going to go to a real prison.
Send me there.
Yeah, but you're a real accountant putting me there.
I'm going to get a 4-year degree suit.
Well,
Hey.
ready to handcuff one guy.
Hey, good job, huh?
Oh, sorry.
You know what, though? Seriously, the FBI, I'm sure they go through, like, a lot of training on how to be, like, a good street cop so that they can, like, no? You don't think so? You don't think so? Okay, just seriously, every time you see a news story with those guys cuffing anybody, just look at them.
Oh.
Versus other videos you see of, like, real cops.
The problem is they can't put down the briefcase to help the person. They're all trying to do it. It's a $500 briefcase.
Hey, I want to know where in the Constitution does it give the federal government the authority to have a law enforcement agency?
That's interesting. Can you show me?
No, because it's not in there.
It's got to be there somewhere.
I digress.
We have like 500 of them. How are they not there?
I don't know.
What do you do to the call screener? They'll just left
I
the
think
room.
Jay Carney tried to do it again.
A friend of ours is helping screen calls if we ever get any. And
We won't. We're fully off our game tonight.
and she unfortunately just had to leave the room. What did you do?
I didn't do anything. You know what? I think
We're going to get control back. We come back to talk about
more about the Middle East.
Let's talk way more about the Middle East. Back in a minute. Sackheads Radio.
Sarcasm Radio.
Sackhead Clint. We're fortunate enough to have our friend Vanessa do our news briefs. If you like her news briefs, she is a voiceover talent. Check out Platinum Vocal Cords. She has over 15 years radio and voiceover experience. Graduated Northwestern State University with a liberal arts degree. Don't let that scare you, folks. She is a true Sackhead. Please check her out. Again, that's PlatinumVocalCords.com. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Sean from Sackheads Radio. I want to talk to you a minute about our friends over at HomefrontHugs.com. They're an amazing organization of volunteers who take their time, effort, and money to take care of our troops overseas as they serve our great nation. HomefrontHugs.com. You can donate, write letters to troops, adopt a troop, you name it, you can do it. Help those wonderful folks who protect our freedoms. Go to HomefrontHugs.com. Tell them Sackheads Radio sent you.
Hey guys, it's Sean from Sackheads Radio. I know I've said it before. Check out our friends at conservativeoutcry.net, but I really mean it. If you want interesting and exciting political commentary and analysis, that is the place to get it. Different, always spot on, always truthful, never pulling a punch. conservativeoutcry.net. Tell Rooster to get Bulldog back on and that Sackheads Radio sent you. And also, coming soon, the Sackheads Radio Forum on conservativeoutcry.net.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank all the wingnut leaders throughout the world to give our men and women of the armed forces a job, as well as all the anarchists, terrorists, and Occupy folks that give our men and women in uniform on the home front, firefighters, law enforcement personnel, and first responders, job security here in the States as well. So thank all you wingnuts out there. This is Sackhead Clint saying have a good day.
Due to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
3, 2.
I love how you're still doing the countdown. We discussed previously that it's completely unnecessary.
Hey, now welcome back, our true professionals, Clint and Sean.
Hey, so do we have control of the show yet?
No, why?
Let's just check. Can we take another break?
Good back. 347-205-9399. I don't know how I have not committed that to memory yet, and I look every single time.
And just so anybody knows who's listening to this on a download, once you download it, and by calling that number, you're not going to get us live anymore.
I did that the other day. I listened to our show. I wanted to call in and chime in because I'm like, those guys are idiots.
I can play with this radio guys.
I blow these guys up. Hey, so I read an article earlier this morning from TomWallerin.com. Like a lot of Tom's stuff. He's funny. And he calls this one Blame Movie regarding the White House blaming the movie Innocence of Muslim for the attacks in Libya, which we all know was BS when it came out, but they tried to spin it that way, and because God...
I'm still trying to spin it that way.
Yeah, I know. God forbid we upset everyone's friend, and we can't just stand up for our freedoms. No, we just have to find a way to get around it.
Well, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton called it an act of terrorism. Jay Carney called the strike terrorism. Finally, yesterday, that is still...
Yeah, he has a campaign to run. What part of that don't you get? He needs to get reelected.
I'm sorry.
Because there's been a message transmitted to Vladimir that he has to be good with it.
Okay.
He has to live up to his end of the bargain.
Hang on a second.
What?
Well, that brings up an interesting point. Why has not addressed the national issue?
Well, because he has nothing to stand on.
Well, no, he's got two legs. See?
Okay.
But he is not coming out and addressing the nation. But even if it's Ronald Reagan when he came out and he addressed America,
yeah.
That's presidential, and I would like to see Obama come out and address the nation and basically reassure the American people, let the American people know that America is not going to stand for having its embassies and its dignitaries, its embassies attacked, Americans come under attack and be subjected to these acts of terror.
Yeah, but you want a president.
I do. I don't think that's unreasonable. And
I don't think it's unreasonable either, but I think the reality is...
And if this president will not do so, I think that Romney should come out. Hey, look, he's interviewing for a job. Romney is interviewing for the presidency.
Yeah.
And you know what? Buy some airtime on TV, come out, and address the American people. Hey, we're all going through tough times. Everybody's uneasy with what's going on in the Middle East. We have terrorism happening against our sovereign embassies, against our people, and we're not going to stand for this. And we need to come together with America. You know what? There's nothing wrong with him doing that. He is interviewing with his job in the presidency. Obama is not leading on this issue. His policies with the Middle East have enabled all these things to occur, and absent any voice from our leader, whether with him or not, he is our president. He should be addressing this issue with the American people, and he's failing to do so.
But again, you're expecting a leader, and we have a community organizer. We have a lawyer.
It doesn't matter who he is or what he did before. I mean, it does matter, but the fact is, right now, he's the president of the United States, and he needs to conduct himself as such.
No,
and I'll tell you, if he were to have done that this week,
right.
I would be one of the first people in line, just like when when Bin Laden got killed, to say, you know what, I disagree with this police, I disagree with this and this. However,
right choice.
He made the right choice. He came up and he took the lead as stepped up to his role as leader of this country and address the American people.
No, I agree with you, and I would actually give him credit. But it didn't happen because I think he knows this is going to be a can of worms that he doesn't want to open. I think as it's starting to come out now, there were more signs, there were probably communicators that were interested. They knew it was coming, and they did nothing about it. And now, the most awful thing that could have happened did happen. 4 Americans, including Ambassador Stevens, lost their lives. And I think he doesn't want to face that fact. I mean, let's face it. It's been 4 years of him not wanting to face certain facts.
Well, House Armed Services Committee Chairman Buck McKeon, he's a Republican in California.
Yes.
He told Fox News that he thinks it looks like the president is purposely misleading the American people. And I have a quote here. Again, this is from Fox News. Again, House Armed Services Committee Chairman Buck McKeon, Republican of California. This is quote: "You hate to think that the president would purposely mislead the American people, but it sure looks like it to me." Is the president purposely misleading the people by not telling them the truth of what happened? And if he is he doing it because he knows his foreign policy, especially in that region, has failed, and it's going to be a huge can of worms for him for his reelection in a campaign that's extremely close? You did, but I'm tying it back to what I was talking about. Tying it all together for us, kind of a big deal. Just follow me.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So it fits. If he is misleading the American people because he's a bunch of idiots, in order to avoid this issue in a re-election campaign, that's a problem.
I'm sure. Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's a ginormous problem that needs to be dealt with and needs to be exposed. And like I think there's starting to be more news agencies calling them out on this, as it's just too, it's the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. Hey,
not the Republican.
Not the Republican.
And not the A's elephant.
And not the A's elephant. And I think as time goes on, I'm going to find out more and more, like I said. And it is completely political right now. He knows that if this hits, that his policies have failed, that everything he said for the last 2 years, especially leading into this election, all the quote-unquote work that's been done in the Middle East and blah, 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 would come back to bite him. And I think once people realize that he's been doing this a long time, and I think only now more people are starting to see, he alters the facts, or as I like to call it, he alters his reality to match what he wants it to be.
Well, I think that he doesn't want to come out and say it again because he doesn't want to shed more light on the fact that policies have failed. But he had an interview with Univision. Did I say that correct?
Yeah, I think you're right on.
Where he would say whether Al Qaeda would be involved in this attack or not. All he would say is the matter is still under investigation.
Right, and that's great, except for the fact that
Al Qaeda was involved.
Right, and we have evidence for that, and we've had evidence for that, and he knew it. Again, almost a little scary at what he tried to throw out, and what people swallow without an issue, because there are people out there that just turn around and swallow everything he says is gospel. And people are just starting to realize it. I think this is going to hurt him politically. I think as time progresses and he knew more than he let on, and Hillary knew more than he let on, and he gets taken to tap. I'll tell you right now, the outcome of this investigation officially, you and I both know we won't say anything until after the election's over, because that's their scam. He loves to do that. It's kind of the same thing that's going on with the Holder, Eric Holder being held in contempt. Nothing's going to be done until after the election. And it's also the same thing. I mean, in this way, he's kind of using, I'm sure he say a lot of the reasons why he didn't talk about this sooner, or what he did talk about, was based on national security. Oh, well, due to national security and the investigation, I couldn't talk about blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Same thing he kind of did with Holder when he invoked executive privilege. He just doesn't like to tell the truth. All right, he doesn't like to tell the whole truth. He likes to tell half-truths. It's funny how he didn't even want to admit that it was a possibility that terrorism was involved in this.
Of course not. He wanted to blame this video to shield himself.
Right.
You have the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Susan Rice, who comes out and says, oh, no, the attacks were spontaneous, were triggered by protests in Cairo. But there were sources, and Fox News has reported on this, also said that there were no major protests in Benghazi prior to the attack. So that would be in conflict with what she's saying, or what her thesis is, that this strike is part of some big demonstration that's happened to spin out of control.
Right, and it's continuing to spin out of control. There's anti-American movements all over the Middle East, Pakistan, I think Tunisia. I mean, you name one of those countries over there, and it seems like there's some sort of protest going on. Again, there are people that hate our freedoms, and I brought this up earlier this week. I said, when the movie Passion of the Christ came out, do you remember that?
Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
remember when all the Christians rallied and they killed everybody?
Well, no, I'm not.
And they attacked everybody.
Say that.
No, remember it did happen. Oh no, it didn't, did it?
Say that did happen though.
Okay.
And at the time, I believe President Bush was the president. But would that have led to the president immediately blaming the video? I don't think that would have happened. I mean, it's hard to say he's not anymore. It was a completely offensive to Christians. There was a lot into it that made Jesus Christ out to be kind of like what this video did. There was just a lot of horrible things that they made him out to be. People got upset.
Different cultures. Look, you have it was an anti-Christian movie.
Yep.
Christians they're not going to come out and protest and burn the city down and attack people that have differing views for the most part.
No, you always have an extremist in every religion. I don't care.
Right, but you don't have mass protests in the United States where we're going to go attack. The Passion of the Christ was put out. Nobody went down and stormed Hollywood and burned down movie sets and killed producers.
Christian countries out there, and actually, I forget country it is. I know there's a country in the Middle East that actually has a fairly Christian population, considering it's the Middle East. I don't remember the American embassies being attacked. I don't remember the White House calling for the filmmaker to be investigated, calling for the film producer to pull it from the theaters. None of that stuff.
No. Well, that's because it's not anti-Muslim. It was anti-Christian. You can denigrate Christians.
I know all you want,
but not anybody else.
And this is, like I said, for me, I'm not a religious all that much. I have a few religious beliefs, but I don't go to church and all that. And I still, it's outrageous, some of the stuff that was in it, but it's not a reason to kill anybody.
Let's get back.
Opinion is not a reason to kill.
Let's get back to this Blame the Movie article that you brought up before, because there's some good points in that article that I think you should bring up, especially since we're talking about blaming films and filmmakers and how.
That's why I was tying it in with the Passion of the Christ.
And that's why I'm just bringing it right back to you. Come on, man.
Sorry. So, I don't know where to start. There's so much in here that I really want to talk about. But
so Bill Maher.
All right. If I told you that it was that an anti-Islamic filmmaker donated to the Obama campaign and the Obama campaign accepted it, would you be outraged?
Oh, of course.
And why?
Because it's movies are harmful.
Right. So
if someone has that position,
right,
and they had something that controversial, whether it's anti-Christian, anti-Muslim, whatever, why would a president want to take donations or be tied or associated with that person? But the left wouldn't make anything like that, would they? I could see them making an anti-Christian movie, but they wouldn't have an anti-Islam element to it, would they?
Them as a whole? I don't think so. However, one of them who's actually highly revered on the left and everybody loves him because he's just so damn funny. Another guy who, honestly, if for some reason he disappeared off the face of the earth tomorrow, I would not even think twice about it.
Don't worry, you're with me the whole time. I'm looking at you.
Your friend Bill Maher, and I know you guys have drinks often.
Oh, yeah, all time.
Just threw something across the floor accidentally. Sorry about that. He made a documentary.
You aimed at my head. Seriously?
Bill Maher makes me that upset.
I know.
He made a documentary called Religulous. I couldn't say it. So.
That's ridiculous.
And it's famous for mocking Christianity in a major way. But I think what a lot of people overlook, and I remember there was some reasonable outrage to that. When I say reasonable, people were upset about it, but they voiced an intelligent manner and didn't riot or blow anything up or kill an ambassador or anything like that. But what a lot of people seem to forget when he made that film is that the last 20 minutes, there was a severe case against Islam as a whole, too.
Now, when did this film come out? Do you know?
I want to say it was 2.5, 3 years ago.
Okay, so I'm sure we can look and find a video. I'm sure the Obama administration came out
immediately
disavowed that also, right?
Right.
I'm sure it happened.
And again, this is...
I'm sure the Middle East caught on because of that last 20-minute segment, and they started killing Americans. Did that happen?
No, it didn't happen for some strange reason.
Huh.
And as we all know, Bill Maher, a huge Obama supporter. He's a huge progressive leftist. He absolutely does everything he can to denounce the right, independence, anything like that. Anyone who doesn't agree with him and Obama, he immediately just destroys the Tea Party. He pretty much called them a bunch of lunatics. Like, it goes on and on. So here's this pillar of the left who made an anti-Islam movie. I don't remember anybody calling for it to be pulled from the independent theaters, or that might have went right to VHS. We still use VHS, right?
I think it went straight to beta.
Yeah.
Or like Cooper did.
Straight to 8mm. And
yeah, it went right, and the soundtrack was on AX, so it was a huge hit.
But Bill Maher donated to a super PAC. He didn't donate directly to Obama. Come on, we all know what's going on there.
No, we don't.
Really, the super PACs don't?
No, it's not. It came out in 2008.
All right, 2008. That was close.
So Obama wasn't. Oh yeah, no, he was there.
No, he was. Yeah, he was already there.
Yeah, no, never mind.
It was fine. Nobody cared about it.
I didn't care about it. That's for sure.
But it just frustrates me that he gets the pass on that. Now, where is everybody calling for Bill Maher? Calling for Bill Maher to denounce his own movie. It's nowhere. I don't see it anywhere. It's ridiculous. And again, I don't agree with Bill Maher, but that was his right to express.
You know what? What if, and I'm just spitballing here, what if the Islamic extremists showed the last 20 minutes of Bill Maher's movie?
Yeah.
And would the administration denounce it?
I don't know. Well, and you're also, again, you're making the assumption that they actually saw the movie. The movie was released in June. The attacks happened last week. And so I can't tell you how many of them saw it. I don't think any of the protesters that showed up with RPG, AK-47.
Listen, that was a completely spontaneous event. I'm sure many people take RPGs and AK-47s to spontaneous protests.
Right.
It's like, hey, I'm going to go protest. I'm going to go grab my RPG and some rocket-propelled grenades to go in it.
And this brought up a point that somebody else brought up on Twitter, saying, hey, I remember a couple of Tea Party protests, people showed up with their firearms. And I remember one guy that was specifically stopped on the news. He had it in a legal manner. The place they were having the protest didn't forbid it. He had all of his documentation.
It was unloaded.
It was unloaded. Again, I'm not one who brings a gun to a protest, but it was his right to do it. So you can have that.
So basically you're tying the Tea Party to the Muslim extremists who bring RPGs to good job.
No, what I'm tying.
No, that's awesome.
When I'm showing
Great point.
the responsibility and the difference.
Yeah.
And the fact that the reason why we have the right to bear arms is because, for the most part, we are a responsible nation. And
they were, look, and when they brought their open carry to the, what's that?
What?
Huh?
Huh?
What?
No, just go on, make your point.
Yeah, okay.
I would hate to cut you off.
I wouldn't hate to cut you off because you just ramble way too much sometimes. It's just
You have a clip on our board called Clint's Rant Music. I rant so much. Really?
That was one of the people bringing a gun to the protest. Look, they were also talking about that was when open carry was going through and a gun rights component because Second Amendment rights are under attack here in this country. That's the difference. Over in the Middle East, they bring weapons because they're going to go do bad things.
Well, they also celebrate in a lot of those protests by unloading a whole magazine into the sky. So,
I just wanted to make it
different over there.
I wanted to make it very clear to our listeners that we were not tying the people that brought guns to the Tea Party.
If anyone I thought I articulated that I was using it.
I didn't necessarily take it that way, but I'm not the most intelligent person out there, so I wanted to clarify that.
Then. I was saying that
please extrapolate.
That somebody was able to do it in a responsible manner, and they did it following the law, and nobody got hurt, and there was no outrage by the protesters. There was no outrage by anyone except for the extreme left that are against gun rights anyhow in the mainstream media that, oh, my God, this guy brought a firearm to a protest. Well, they did it in a completely legal, responsible manner.
Well, they were doing it because they were exercising their gun rights because that is an issue that is a hot topic in this country.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Okay.
If you felt that I did not articulate
I knew what you were trying to say because I know you and your views, but I'd hate to have somebody out there
Listen, I talk different.
That doesn't. You speak a completely different language.
I say things like car and whatnot.
You speak Bostonian.
So if you want to read the whole article, it's on TomO'Halloran.com. I thought it was a good article that shows that it's, it's not just this one movie that's ever insulted anyone in Islam, but for some reason they're saying that this one caused the attack, which we know now is false. But I also wanted to show a different side of it, that a big liberal pillar can show an anti-Islamist movie. What the hell is wrong with my mouth tonight? And
I don't know. It looks great.
Nothing comes about. So now I guess we'll get to the meats and potatoes. You want to take a break? We're coming up on the hour.
Yes.
All right. So are we coming up on the hour? We're coming up.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. All right, so we'll take a break, and we'll talk about the White House's change in stance on what happened in the Middle East. And if you have your points that you want to make, you can call 472-05-9399. Facebook chat. And do that. I'm still on a break. I'll see you in a minute. There's the mute button. And we're back. Zacast Radio 347-205-9399. I'm telling you, dude, this early time really screws me up. I don't know why I'm better late.
We're back to our regular time this week.
Thank goodness, because I don't know if I keep doing this. 7 o'clock at night is just too early in the morning for me. So the White House changed on what these attacks were. And I'm going to play the original statement on attacks. I just want to play the president's statement last week, so I'm going to play that. Here it is.
That the anniversary of 9/11 would be a time that you would want to have extra security around diplomats and military posts?
Well, as you know, we are very vigilant around anniversaries like 9/11. The president has always briefed and brought us to speed on all the precautions being taken. But let's be clear. But
being very vigilant are different things.
Jay, let's be clear. These protests were in reaction to a video that had spread to the region. We certainly don't know. We don't know otherwise. We have no information to suggest that it was a pre-planned attack. The unrest we've seen around the region has been in reaction to a video that many Muslims find offensive. And while the violence is reprehensible and unjustified, it is not a reaction to the 9/11 anniversary that we know of or to U.S. policy.
The group around
But despite the fact that Al-Qaeda had said numerous times they're going to attack us again, understand that there's been reports in the past that they're going to try again on 9/11. There is no way that these attacks could have been tied, and this is last week's statements, could have been tied to that. It had to be the release of this movie that came out 2 months after these attacks. And I love the fact, and I said this last week, how he could be sure it's due to the movie, but completely denounce that it could be attached to anything else.
Right.
Again, it shows what a little weasel he is and how he loves to do things. So one thing's 100%. It's definitely about these movies, this movie, but it's about the attacks.
Did you know that the State Department put out a video, ran it on Pakistani TV, using taxpayer dollars, where Obama and Hillary apologized for this video?
Yeah,
So they're essentially apologizing for America's freedom of speech.
I did catch that. I don't know. Listen, I understand.
Think about this.
I understand if they're sitting around there like, hey, we're going to kind of find a way to smooth things over. All right, well, instead of apologizing for freedom of speech, why don't you show people who may not know, and there have to be people out there that don't understand, we covered this week, that we have freedom of speech and say, hey, you know what? It's not the stance of the American people, it's the stance of that person who has that freedom of speech and that right to have that opinion. And we defend that opinion, that freedom forever. We don't necessarily agree with the movie, but that's not for the American people. That, you know what I mean? You can. I know.
Why do you need to say anything at all? I agree. Look, they have been attacking us for hundreds of years.
I understand that.
A video
I'm saying
at taxpayer is not going to smooth that over with these people.
No, I know, but you know this administration, we have to apologize about to everybody. So I understand looking through their eyes why they did it, because that's the MO of this administration, will apologize to everybody. But they, even using that tactic that they love to do to make everybody try to love us even though they hate us, they could have done it without jamming up our freedom.
Now, would you then support, I want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, would you support using taxpayer money to make a video and putting it over there saying...
looking through their eyes, I have my progressive liberal hat on, and I'm saying we have to make everybody love us again. I have an idea. Why don't we put out a movie in the Middle East? A commercial, rather, in Pakistan. And
talk about the freedoms of America.
In the Middle East, it hasn't worked out well for us, apparently.
No.
And talk about it. But I can't get so progressive in my mind, like I just can't turn that on to try to be understanding of them, to say we need to apologize for our freedom of speech. So I
can't even wrap my head around putting a stinking movie up. First of all, you're using taxpayer dollars to do it. They're getting enough of our stinking money. Maybe you put a movie out saying that.
Yeah.
Hey, those of you destroying our embassy, you know how much money we give you, and we're not going to stop. Congratulations. Way to screw it up for your government.
Should have done, which pretty much what they do with a lot of their policies anyhow, is put a pallet of money on camera, pour gasoline on it, light a fire, and so you just did that. That was all your money in this couple of years that we were going to give to you, but now it's gone.
Yeah, I'm not going to save it and spend it, because why would we do that?
No,
we're going to burn it out of spite.
That makes total sense.
Right. Look, I disagree that money gets used to send it out anyway. So I can't even go to the place where you went, which is weird because you actually put on kind of the opposite, play devil's advocate for a second.
Yeah, sometimes you want to your enemy, you have to kind of...
I can't even wrap my head around spending taxpayers' money to put the bill out, even explaining ourselves to them.
Have you seen the list of stupid things we pay taxpayer money on? It doesn't shock me, is what I'm saying.
It doesn't, but when you have an American president and a Secretary of State
apologizing for our freedoms,
yes, essentially.
I don't disagree that it's ridiculous. What I was doing is saying I understand by putting on if I'm trying to get everybody to love me no matter what, and it's this weird need to be liked by everyone that we have in this administration.
Notice the blood shooting out of my eyes right now.
You're furious, but I like to try to get into their heads so I know why they say things, so I can have some sort of counteraction for it.
So do you agree with it?
No, I totally.
Well, then why are you defending it?
I'm not defending it.
You're justifying it.
I am showing. No, I'm not justifying. I'm showing you.
So then condemn it.
Why they did.
Condemn it.
I'm condemning it.
Okay, good.
I'm just trying to. I hate when you do this to me. You know I was not supporting it.
You sounded
You
to
know
me.
for a fact.
You were being understanding of why they did it. You were sympathizing.
I was
You
not
were a
sympathizing.
sympathizer.
No, I was stepping into their shoes again.
Sympathizing, just like Obama does
You have to know
with the terrorists.
You have to know your enemy. You have to know what they're going to do.
I know what they did.
I know what they did too, and I know why they're doing it, because they have this weird need. It all comes down to the UN. I guarantee you, it has this weird need to look good in the eyes of the UN. For whatever reason, we're so concerned about those pigs, all of them, and that's why they do it. It's one of their tactics to get everyone to love us. They love that whole idea of the New World Order where the UN runs everything. Courts, world governments, they love that idea. So in order to make it look good to them and the people and the delegates from the UN...
What are you even talking about right now?
Why they ran the movie.
How do you spin a taxpayer-funded apology movie into a UN conspiracy world government theory?
Because
I love that about you.
That
was
exactly what
just
they're
so...
They're trying to stop the attacks by getting everyone to love us.
Because that works. Because that's worked.
All the... Huh?
Because that worked.
No, that's not worked. That's not even a great tactic. I understand what they do.
Oh.
And they know there's a lot of countries in the Middle East that are in the UN, and for whatever reason, they love the UN and they don't want the UN to be mad at us. So they put out these apology movies. I'm sure the UN called and said, hey, could you...
I disagree. I think they put out the apology movie because this administration genuinely believes that America is evil. You laugh.
I disagree with that.
I believe that's why they put this movie out. I don't believe that this president loves this country and thinks that this country is exceptional and is the last bastion of freedom on earth. I don't believe that.
Yeah, I think he honestly believes we have too many freedoms.
Look, that's a whole other issue, but I think that he believes America has bad things. I believe this president is...
Like, rebuild all these countries and give them...
He doesn't look at it that way. I believe he sees it that way. He sees it as we have conquered lands. We have taken lands from the Native Americans, the Mexicans, the Hawaiians. I believe he looks at us as conquerors and occupiers, and so because of what he believes America has done evil to all these different... He does support Occupy movement, but he doesn't like our country, and so he feels the need to go out and make these videos condemning basic American core values, in essence. I mean, he's condemning, the movie, but he's condemning something that somebody did express their religion, whatever it is. That's an issue.
Yeah, huge issue.
I believe that's why he did it. I don't believe he's necessarily pandering to the UN. I think it's deeper than that on a personal level. Okay, look, when he became president, he returned the bus of to England of
who? I don't remember either.
Winston Churchill.
Thank you.
No, thank you. He returns the bust of Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill was, he was a colonial.
Right.
Okay. Why would he do that? Closest ally. You just look at the things he's done, how he's treated our traditional allies, especially giving a bust of Winston Churchill back to the English.
Yeah.
That was good. Hey, give the Resolute desk back too. Why not? I mean, let's shit back the Statue of Liberty, because that was something that pointed us.
I know why he.
I tell you, I believe he did it. I don't believe he did it because he was pandering to the UN. Of it, I believe he genuinely disagrees with the fundamental principles this country is founded on, which is why he wants to fundamentally transform.
After his campaign, and we all know that. I think that's also, though, what's led to our biggest divide with Israel. Well, let me rephrase that. This administration's biggest divide with Israel, and they can say everything's great, all they want, that there's no problems with it, but he said to a meeting with Netanyahu in New York last week, something's got to tell you something's wrong there. You know what I mean? And
well, yeah, didn't he have a show to do or something?
All these countries that have attacked Israel, one of our closest allies, and tries to make good with them for something that we don't owe anything to. If anything, they owe us for all the money that we've thrown at them. And he just apologizes, and it pisses Israel off. I'm sure it pisses a few other our allies off, and it pisses me off.
He helped take down the dictatorship in Egypt when they were our closest allies. Obviously, in that, they kept a lot of things in check in the least for us.
Well, they worked with Israel. They had a relationship with
absolutely
no other country in the Middle East
absolutely
had.
and American interests as a result. The Middle East is more stable.
Yeah, absolutely.
This administration sort of an opening of that, this Arab thing, and now look what we have. The Middle East is on fire, like
literally.
And what else do we have going on in the world? I mean, you look at what China is doing now. I mean, okay, I'm going to throw China in this. You look at what China is doing now, and the protests in China, Pakistan, and the anti-Japanese sentiment being harvested over in China right now. And those two countries have a history dating back thousands of years. And you could even look forward to World War II, what the Chinese did to the Chinese.
Absolutely.
But you have China now. It seems like they're baiting their population into this huge of nationalism. It looks like they're gonna bait the people into going to war with Japan. Now that's scary. So okay, who do we support? Japan's an ally, but China holds our debt. Uh-oh.
You don't want to bite the hand that feeds you.
Well,
you also don't want to.
Think about now we have to support our NATO ally because that's a treaty. And what's China going to do? They're going to dump our currency. What happens then?
Right.
How do we deal with that? Now we're dealing with the Middle East. That's in complete chaos. We have still that wingnut up in North Korea.
Yeah, who's just itching to go.
So we have the Korean potential to go out there, and now we have what's going on in China.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this administration's foreign policy has put us in a horrible stake. And what kills me is how close this race is between Obama and Romney, at least according to all the polls. It's frustrating. People not paying attention to what's going on in the world and the harm that I don't care what side of the aisle you want. If this was a Republican doing this, I was saying the exact same thing. I'm not sentimental. Man.
That's your rant music.
No, that's my mellow. I need to be soft music.
All right, keep going.
I'm done.
I agree. People aren't paying attention. The polls show, and I know you had a couple poll numbers up earlier.
Well, I was looking at Rasmussen reports, and according to the Electoral College map, they have right now the likely electoral count to be 237 Obama, 196 Romney, with 105 being in the toss-up column. They have 178 electoral votes that they consider safe for Romney, 3 more considered likely Romney, and 15 more that lean Romney. They have 2 safe Obama, 21 likely, 15 that lean Obama, again with 105 toss-up. The toss-up states being Colorado, Florida, Missouri, New Hampshire, Nevada, Ohio, Virginia, Wisconsin, and I believe Indiana.
Well, that answers your question. People aren't paying attention. You know, and polls are not always 100%.
And all those states, only Missouri went Republican time.
Yeah. But I think that shows you, too, that this is interesting to see in about 2 weeks, because I think his little bump.
Iowa, not Indiana. I apologize.
The bump that he got after the DNC in the polls has kind of gone away. And I wonder in 2 weeks when more information comes out in this attack, I think his numbers are going to go down even more. Obama.
We'll see, man. The media is giving him a pass on everything. I wanted to clarify something. Indiana is considered safe from it's Iowa.
Okay.
That's considered a toss-up. I apologize.
But to get back to your original point, his policies have created a lot of havoc, and the things in the Middle East now are starting to spread in countries in Africa that have Muslim communities.
You're talking North Africa?
And so that's going to hurt any sort of relationship that we have there. You know, it also, and people forget this too, part of the reason Israel's in a bad place is because they ally with us, and people don't like us. I mean, there's the differences between them and the Muslim nations, but there's those people that hate Israel just because they're allied with us. And part of me wonders if that's not why he's driving the stake to a certain point of view, and making Israel out to be the great evil versus us. You know, and it just goes to show you that I'm petrified of what this guy's going to do with the next 4 years if he's unchecked.
it's scary. You're not going to recognize the tree. I mean, you're not.
They don't in some ways.
You don't, but we're not to the point where it's. Well, I don't think it's to the point where we can't fix it.
Right. 759-399. So the White House, and this is from yesterday, the White House finally came out and called the Libyan assault on our embassy a terrorist attack.
No way to be in front of that one, White House.
Yeah, way to be out in the front. But on the 19th, which kills me, before they did that, here is Jay Carney and Lynn on CBS on what the attack was.
Bill, still maintaining that there was no evidence of a pre-planned attack. How come?
Bill, let me just repeat now.
How is it
based on the
information, RPGs, automatic weapons?
Bill, I know you've done a little bit of reading about Libya since the unrest that began under Gaddafi. The place has an abundance of weapons.
No question about it. But do you expect a street mob to come armed that way?
There are, unfortunately, many bad actors in that country, as there are throughout the region.
That's not the point.
And they're very armed. The point is, you can make suppositions about what happened. We prefer to have an investigation that looks very closely into what happened and assembles the facts and presents them. Based on all I'm saying,
our people on the ground have seen the fragments of the remains of the mortars and the heavy weapons that were used.
We've made clear that there were armed assailants who used heavy weapons. We obviously haven't disputed that. And
this is just a random crowd that got together with their heavy weapons, got insulted by the film, and decided to go.
As I think I just said, there has certainly been precedent in the past where bad actors, extremists who are heavily armed in different countries and different regions of the world have taken advantage of and exploited situations that have developed in order to either attack Westerners or Western assets or American assets. That is not
plan to do it, don't you think?
They might or they might not. All I can tell you is based on the information we had at the time, we have now, we do not yet have indication that it was pre-planned or premeditated. There's an active investigation. If that active investigation produces facts that lead to a different conclusion, we will make clear that that's where the investigation has led. It's not, our interest is in finding out the facts of what happened, not taking what we've read in the newspaper and making bold assertions that we know what happened. We'd rather investigate it.
But doesn't it seem likely?
I think that goes back to making presumptions about what happened, and we'd rather investigate it.
So there's some bad actors that joined into the protest that showed up, even though the protest wasn't pre-scheduled. They drove by and said, "Hey, there's a bunch of people protesting the embassies. Let's run home, grab our RPGs," and yeah, it didn't happen.
Do you know Jay Carney's background?
No, actually, I know that he lives in his mom's basement. He's mid-40s, plays World of Warcraft, and specializes in miniature model painting.
And Dungeons and Dragons.
Am I close?
No.
Oh, damn it.
Did you know he was the Washington bureau chief for Time magazine? You know, that completely independent and well-versed.
Not at all jaded.
Yeah. He had a bachelor's degree in Russian and Eastern European studies from Yale.
Shocking.
Yeah. And then he was the Times Moscow. He was a correspondent in Times Moscow bureau for 3 years while it covered the collapse of the USSR.
Are you shocked?
No.
Neither am I. I love, again, that during his little speech there, and this is from 2 days ago, that he completely just bad actors. How about calling them terrorists? And how about saying that, maybe, even if he had said, hey, they staged a protest to give them an opportunity to launch a terrorist attack, I could say, all right, so like some people that were unknowing together and say, hey, we're going to go in front of the Andes.
Right, cover us while we're going to go and
then
kill some Americans.
They had a secondary plan. He can't even admit that. And this is just...
You know what I want to hear him say? When I'm president and you're my press secretary, here's what I want you to say. If anything, God forbid, like this ever happens when I'm in office, here's what I want you to say. I want you to come out and be like, We're pulling all of our assets out of the Middle East because we are immediately starting a carpet bombing campaign effective 30 seconds ago.
The problem is
we're going to build one big parking lot in the Middle East.
And again, this isn't everybody in the Middle East, but Al-Qaeda is still active. And even though the president likes to swear to God that Al-Qaeda is on their last...
He doesn't swear to God. He doesn't...
I know.
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
But, he swears they're on their last leg and, they can barely function and they have no money. Apparently they can.
Yeah, they can barely function to the tune that they can coordinate in several countries' attacks on American assets.
Yeah, all at once.
All at once. Well, it sounds like a completely defunct organization to me. Nothing to worry about here, folks. Anybody want any cake?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just complete ignorance of what's going on. And the fact that drives me crazy, he calls them bad actors. These are the people that killed our ambassador and 3 other people. You're going to call them actors? Really, you scummy little douchebag? Call them what they are. They're friggin' murderers.
Yeah, they're
and
terrorists.
It's okay to call them what they really are. I call him a weasel. I call him a douchebag because that's what he is. I have the freedom of speech to do that, and I'm willing to use it. God, he just gets me so pissed off. Hey, Jay, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the show. The phone number is 347-205-9399. We'd have a small, candid conversation.
We'd be completely respectful.
And again, it kills me that he can't even articulate who is at fault. And as of today, I don't even think the FBI investigators in Libya have gone to the actual consulate yet. However, as of yesterday, they did call the Libyan...
Whoa. Did you say FBI?
Yeah.
So they're treating this like a law enforcement matter?
Yeah, for some reason. Instead of a military matter?
Yeah.
I'm sure that, there's been 50 arrests according to the Libyan government. The Libyans are calling it terrorist, the Libyan government that's there.
So, I hope the Libyan government is there.
Kind of, sort of. They check in from time to time.
So they're treating this so they're not even treating this as a military matter. They're treating it as a law enforcement matter. Yeah. So does that mean that they're going to proceed with trials? Are they, what?
Well, I know that the
FBI... Because I do that as an act of war.
...has shown up in other places of bombings and attacks just because their equipment, and that's the whole reason they have them.
The military has bomb teams and bomb investigation teams.
But I think they're supposed to be, or they have been in the past, more of evidence technicians versus actual enforcement.
So why are you sending evidence collection in? That's my point.
No,
why are you collecting evidence unless so maybe they're not treating this as an act of war.
No,
maybe
they should be. I agree.
I believe they should.
I think we've been in a war with the Al-Qaeda since 2001.
Yeah, and the governments haven't. Has the Egyptian government even denounced this yet?
I haven't seen that. I know.
I know they didn't in the first couple of days.
No, and why would they now? It's the Egyptian government. They don't care anymore.
Because they used to be our friend. Oh yeah, Arab Spring. Never mind.
Anymore, right? So yeah, the FBI is going over there. Yeah, I'm sure instead of getting a military tribunal out of this or an attack or a counterattack, we're going to probably end up
trying to extradite to the U.S.
Yeah, they're probably going to do that. And he can't send him to Guantanamo. He closed that. No, he didn't.
Who said he was going to?
It's just ridiculous. We come back. We'll take calls already. 347-205-9399. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to pick up in Libya. Well, we won't be in Libya, but our topic will be when we come back. If you have something, feel free to chime in. Sackheads Radio.
Sackheads Radio.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. We're fortunate enough to have our friend Vanessa do our news briefs. If you like her news briefs, she is a voiceover talent. Check out Platinum Vocal Cords. She has over 15 years radio and voiceover experience. Graduated Northwestern State University with a liberal arts degree. Don't let that scare you, folks. She is a true sackhead. Please check her out. Again, that's PlatinumVocalCords.com. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Sean from Sack Kids Radio. I want to talk to you a minute about our friends over at HomefrontHugs.com. They're an amazing organization of volunteers who take their time, effort, and money to take care of our troops overseas as they serve our great nation. HomefrontHugs.com. You can donate, write letters to troops, adopt a troop, you name it, you can do it. Help those wonderful folks who protect our freedoms. Go to HomefrontHugs.com. Tell them Sack Kids Radio sent you.
Hey guys, it's Sean from Sackheads Radio. I know I've said it before. Check out our friends at conservativeoutcry.net, but I really mean it. If you want interesting and exciting political commentary and analysis, that is the place to get it. Different, always spot on, always truthful, never pulling a punch. conservativeoutcry.net. Tell Rooster to get Bulldog back on and that Sackheads Radio sent you. And also, coming soon, the Sackheads Radio Forum on conservativeoutcry.net.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank all the wingnut leaders throughout the world to give our men and women of the armed forces a job, as well as all the anarchists, terrorists, and Occupy folks that give our men and women in uniform on the home front, firefighters, law enforcement personnel, and first responders, job security here in the States as well. So thank all you wingnuts out there. This is Sackhead Clint saying have a good day.
Due to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
3, 2.
I love how you're still doing the countdown. We discussed previously that it's completely unnecessary.
Hey, now welcome back, our true professionals, Sean.
Seriously, he's just got one of those faces that, you know how some people just have that face that you just want to freaking punch, like right in the mouth? He's just the biggest douchebag in the world. And, I mean, Jay Carney, dude, the same guy we've been talking about for the last, seriously, 2 minutes. That guy is
great. After about a minute and a half.
Shut up.
It's only been about 45 minutes.
Hey, thanks for the head up.
So we're back.
I was wondering, I come back and I'm like, okay, hey, why is my soundboard down? This is weird. And then I decided to start talking, and thanks for that.
I am Sean. This is.
You realize you just totally torpedoed my presidential election campaign, right?
Well,
Because
2015 will not be a good election.
Called somebody a douchebag.
That's all right. He is a douchebag.
It's whoever I'm running against.
I have no problem with politicians talking like that.
Whoever I'm running against is going to play a loop of me saying douchebag, douchebag, douchebag.
And you just smiling. Yep. Yeah, I did say that one.
Yeah, I said that.
Okay.
Wait, listen to the emphasis on this one. Yeah, right there. That's my favorite.
So with that,
douchebag.
phone number is 347-205-9399. We are talking about the.
We really are back.
We really are back. I don't lie to you. The White House actually finally coming out and admitting that it was a terrorist attack here in Libya that killed Ambassador Stevens and 3 other ambassadors. We played the clip break of Jay Carney talking about just from the 19th, 2 days ago, about how they're bad actors and that there was a protest and a few bad actors showed up, and pretty much I loved it. At one point he said something to the effect, well, you know how it is over there. No, Jay, tell us.
No.
Tell us exactly how it is over there. It's a war-torn country where there's absolutely no control. People are so oppressed on one hand that they can't do anything, and the people that have power and the weapons get to run crazy and do whatever they want.
And they're completely, there's no money going to the people. Remember, Jay, when you grew up over there and you were a little tyke running around in the Middle East? Growing up? Oh, no, you don't remember that?
Okay. Could you just tell us what the president told you to tell us when you humped this like a piece of cheese, you little rat? Seriously, that's all we get out of you. We don't get any truth or facts. You just tell us whatever talking points want to come out. All right, I'm going to keep going on Jay Carney unless you stop me.
I'm not going to stop you. I think this is hilarious.
Well, I think that even mainstream a little bit is starting to take them to task over this. That was Bill Plant from CBS saying to him, "Hey, are you kidding me? You knew that there are weapons over there and all that stuff, but for them to show up at a protest and do a coordinated attack at the same time in Egypt, like what's going on? There was mortar rounds, blah 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 blah." And he was saying, "Well, there's bad actors." And he just kept saying that, I'm going to haunt me in my sleep. Bad actors. They're murderers, you jerk. Sorry to keep repeating myself. By the way, I know when Bob is in our room.
Yeah? Is he here?
There's immediately a disparaging remark about all liberals that pops up in the chat room. So, weekly shout out to Bob, Sagittarian, everyone else in the chat room, the call in. Lines are open. You can talk to the wonderful Camille who screened my calls tonight.
Yeah. Look, I think it's we need to stop all aid to the Middle East. I mean, seriously, hey, go ahead, function without our money.
Yeah,
it's okay. And I'm bringing that up. Sagittarian brought that up in our chat room, and thank you. Hello. She is also a listener of ours every week, and we appreciate it. We've said it before also, but what is Congress waiting for? Why do we still give money to that region when they hate us, when they attack us, they kill us? I don't get it.
I don't know why.
We're in enough financial trouble, and I think there's a movement already to stop some of that funding. This administration will never sign it, nor will the Senate ever let it get to a floor vote right now, unless the Democrats lose control of the Senate and Harry Reid can go. So they can't do their job, their constitutional duty, and pass a budget, but that's another talking point for another show.
Yeah, it's ridiculous to me, the amount of money that we waste in this country that we could actually hold on to and, pay off our debt or pay off our debt or pay off our debt.
Or pay off our debt.
Instead, we just keep dumping money in these countries where we don't even know where it goes once we give it to them. But I can tell you where it's not going, to the infrastructure and all that stuff. You don't have no problem helping out the occasional country that needs it, that we're allies with. But countries that hate us, there's no reason to give them money. It's plain and simple. But again, the apologizer-in-chief, God forbid, we actually took a hard stance with them and withdrew and said, until you get your act together and you want to be an ally and you want to work like a friendly nation, we're not giving you a dollar. But what do I know? I'm just a moron with yeah, pretty much.
I want to see a bigger push in Congress for this. They have the purse strings, and I would like to see enough support in Congress to where they could override a presidential veto, and turn the money off to the Middle East altogether.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen if we ever try to push for that is all the liberals that are trying to get reelected, and I'm sure even some conservatives to a certain point, who don't want to upset their voting base, will say no because they need the money and we're rebuilding nations and we're trying to help them out.
No, we're not. How long have we been giving them money?
Just givers. How long can you rebuild a nation for? 40, 50, 60 years? I mean, we pretty much paid to rebuild Japan, and they did pretty good after a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So there's a difference. There are countries that respond appropriately, and then there are countries that just do whatever the hell they want, which these countries do. So at some point, we have to absolutely control. Don't be afraid to deal with these countries harshly. Don't be afraid to say, hey, it's your people that are doing this. If you're going to allow this, we have to take a hard step.
What do we spend? $1.3 billion, something like that, every year to Egypt?
Yeah.
$1.3 billion.
Yep. Doesn't that just seem like a excessive amount of money?
Yeah.
And again, we kind of have this thing called a debt that we would like to resolve, that we're not resolving. And it's just like, hey, let's take a call. How's that?
Fine.
Talk to John Grant in Huntington Beach. John on the air at Sackheads Radio.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, John. How are you?
Good. Just wanted to say hello, and we've had a chance to mix it up a little bit on Twitter, and wanted to wish you well and check in with the show. It sounds great, and we'll hang around the chat room and see what happens, I guess. So.
I appreciate it, John.
Well, thank you very much.
What are your thoughts
Yeah.
on Libya right now?
Well,
I know you're a guy on Twitter occasionally.
I think for better or for worse, the Gwen Ifill wing of the Democrat Party is in control here. And as you're probably aware, Gwen Ifill called what happened in the Middle East a dust-up. And, Mitt Romney is right. There is the 47% of the people who are going to listen to that. And whether it's an economic message or a foreign policy message, we're kind of stuck with that. So I don't know that you're going to be able to, move people off the dime in terms of voting or any sort of loyalty to Obama, because I think, probably between now and the election, we're locked in with a pretty stubborn base that guy has, and I think Romney's right. He's going to have to work in the middle, and it's not going to be people who are swayed by this whole foreign policy thing. I think those voters have already been won over. So I'm not really sure how much traction this gets, except for those of us in talk radio land to pound the crap out of Jay Carney, which we love to do.
It's okay.
I mean, you can read the tweets as well as I can, and it just seems like there's some immovable objects, and unfortunately, with a dead ambassador and 3 other dead Americans, they don't care, and they've got a pretty goddamn big, pardon my French, voting bloc that feels the same way. So I don't know. I wish I could feel optimistic that you could shave 1 or 2% off of his popularity or his voter turnout on this, but I don't know. I just see the way that the message and the dialogue's being controlled right now, and unfortunately on the Republican side, you've got guys like Bill Kristol who are demanding that Mitt Romney walk back this comment or that comment. You don't really see that on the left, and despite all the asinine, audacious, crazy things that Obama says about redistribution, or you can't change Washington from the inside, there's nobody on his side that's really pulling people away, and I think they understand what it takes to win, and sometimes we don't. And that's why you don't get any wavering on this Libya stuff from them. Even if they're caught in the lie, there's going to be the same people who are going to cover his ass come hell or high water. And I think, as much as we hate that, and as much as we, as true believers resent that, these guys are in it to win it, and there's going to be nothing walked back when it comes to either economic messages or foreign policy, and I think we've just got to kind of suck it up and move on and realize that that's where they're coming from on this.
And I think you hit it on the head when you said, look, they're in it to win it, period, and they'll do it at all costs, whereas the conservative movement, we tend to be more principled. We tend to view things through the test of right as opposed to, we're just going to win. And I think that the Obama team has that filter. I also wonder, and I want to get your thoughts on this, do you think America has changed, and by America I mean the people, do you think our culture, our people has changed to the point where if this were other administration, Romney would be winning by a landslide right now? With everything going on in the Middle East and all of the policies that Obama has put into place there, it wouldn't even be close. But people aren't talking about that, or like they're not moving from that. So have we as Americans changed to the point where, hey, our country is in danger, literally, our liberty is being threatened, quite literally, and we're not going to move from in order to protect that because we are just marching in lockstep this ideology of Obama, or just see the D at the end of his name, and that's what we need to vote because our union says so, or whatever it is.
I guess the short answer is I believe the polls, which are predicated on the turnout models from 2008, as you know, are full of crap. And I'm looking at some of these which are oversampling Democrats by 10% or 12%. That's just not the way it's going to end up in 2012, Jack, because you're already hearing them. There's a lot of people that I think were brought out of the woodwork to vote for Obama and really believe that there was going to be some change occurring, that are either going to vote for Mitt Romney or they're going to stay home. I think the Democrats are going to have a horrific turnout problem, and you sort of see evidence of that in some of their rallies where, they can't pack in more than a few dozen people in some pretty big markets.
They had to change the whole agenda.
Exactly,
because they couldn't
yeah.
fill the stadium.
Yeah. I mean, the Panthers can fill the stadium, but Barack Obama can't, and that's the way it is in 2012. 4 years ago, it was a totally different story. So I sort of see those as the tea leaves, which say to me, this guy really can't energize the voter base like he did 4 years ago, and I think he knows it, and I think he's just sort of scrapping and scraping for whoever he can. And when the harshest critic of the Obama administration is Univision, the only media that stands up to the guy, I mean, it's no wonder that, his popularity isn't slipping any lower than it is, because, he's got water carriers at every level of the mainstream media. The LA Times is sitting on that Khalidi tape, which I'm sure you guys are aware of. $100,000 or not, that thing's not going to come out of hiding. No. And if you look at just the, horrific things that have to be done to, keep this guy propped up, there's no way that they're going to be able to translate those into voters, because I think, people are starting to see the emperor has no clothes here. And to be honest, Mitt Romney was not my first choice. I think, a lot of independents, libertarians are going to sit on the sidelines here. I hate him for that, because I think, goal number one is to get rid of Barack Obama. Nothing else changes if he stays there. On the other hand, exactly. So, there's a pet peeve which, we could spend another hour talking about, is, the libertarian wing of the party. I mean, these guys have gotten a free ride from Republicans. I'm talking about Ron Paul, since he's been in Congress. So, for them to come at this late juncture and say, well, there's some things you need to do to get the Ron Paul voters. Bullshit. The Ron Paul voters need to get behind the only candidate that can beat Barack Obama right now. So anyway, that's my tangent on that. But
if you're Mitt Romney, how do you make that connection right now? How do you get to those voters?
I think he is. And he said today he doesn't need to reinvent his campaign. He doesn't have to resuscitate it, rehabilitate it, or anything. I think he's right about that. I just think we need the message from everybody else to kind of swirl around that and make that happen. And that's why I smash my head against the wall when I hear, I'm sorry, I like him, the Rand Pauls who say, Mitt Romney would be doing better if he did this, or, the Bill Kristols, who are the usual suspects whenever, Republican talking heads are on the Sunday talk shows. The reason Barack Obama is hanging on to what he has is because he doesn't have that on his side. He doesn't have detractors. He doesn't have somebody saying, well, gosh, Barack Obama just went off message there. And again, the craziest stuff comes out of his mouth, be it, redistribution or not being able to fix Washington on the inside. There's nobody picking at his carcass like there is on the Republican side. And I just think there needs to be some unity here, and there needs to be some focus and singularity of purpose, which is to get Barack Obama the heck out of the White House. We can argue about Boehner or McConnell or whatever else the Congress and the Senate may or may not have the stones to do, but until that first step gets taken, none of this other crap matters.
I think that the Republicans, I think that most people support Mitt Romney. I understand what you're saying about the detractors, and I think that has to do more with on the left. You have nobody's going to say anything negative about him because they don't want to detract or whatever it is. But on the right, I tend to think that we are okay about pointing out where we disagree with those that are representing us because they're going to be chosen to represent us. And we're not going to 100% of that with everything that they can do is, hey, you know what, on the right, the candidate, I believe in this, because that's what we do. That's what our should be.
I understand that, and I think there's a time for that. I think the primaries are a time for that. There were some things I liked about, Rick Perry. He kind of crashed and burned quickly, or Newt, or Santorum, or some of those other guys. I mean, I think Ron Paul had some good messages, but once the door gets slammed shut on that, we're in the red zone offense here. And if you look at the other side, the guys that want Barack Obama to win aren't giving red meat to, the notion that there's something else he has to do to win. They're behind him lock, stock, and barrel. And I think, you need to see the same thing from, quote, unquote, our side, or you're simply, feeding into the notion that he does need to reinvent his campaign. Where does that come from? That doesn't come from the left. That comes from people like Bill Kristol, or that comes from people like Rand Paul. These guys are throwing gasoline on the fire. And, I'm looking at September 21st here. That crap's got to stop totally, really. And I think we need to, get people like Rand Paul saying, look, the prize is to get rid of Barack Obama. We can talk about, whether Mitt Romney's going to fill the debt hole as fast as I want him to or not, or, whether Paul Ryan is going to, come up with a balanced budget as soon as I want to or not. But the reality is, until Barack Obama is completely cleared out of the system, none of that can happen. And that's the type of thing that I'd like to see coming from our side, because you don't see that coming from Democrats. And they must be thinking, in the back rooms, my God, this guy is, driving us over a cliff. But they don't say it. They want to win, and they're saying what they have to do to win.
Well, it goes to show you that the amount of hunger for the power of doing the right thing is in that White House, and it's a complete power play. So much of his pussy has been about power play and just maintaining power versus making us better as a nation. And that's Sydney. Going back to what we were saying earlier and getting people behind getting away from Obama, and maybe people vote for him last time. How does Romney do that? How does Romney get those people away from Obama? Especially, I think what's going on in Libya, and I think more is going to come out about how much was neglected going into it. And how do they capitalize on that? Because there are going to be some people that are upset at their president. They voted for him and supported him about this alone. They need to harp on that fact that he was so worried about hurting feelings of people that are trying to kill us that he didn't take the appropriate steps.
I agree, and if you compare the vitriol coming from Romney and Ryan regarding what's going on in Libya or Egypt or Afghanistan, for that matter, where they've basically stopped going on joint patrols with the Afghans because they can't hand the guys a gun without expecting that they're going to turn around and get shot at. There's nothing coming from Romney and Ryan with regard to that right now. Whereas if you go back to 2006, 2008, it was all about, dead Americans in Iraq or dead Iraqis in Iraq. And the Democrats were not bashful about ramping up the vitriol when it came to the anti-war rhetoric. Romney and Ryan have strayed away from that. They've stuck to the economic message. I think they're winning to the extent that they're doing that. I don't think seniors buy the notion that Romney and Ryan are going to yank Medicare out from underneath them. I don't think they trust Obama because they've already seen what he's done to rob Medicare to pay for Obamacare. So I think their message as far as the domestic stuff is concerned is sound. I don't know why there isn't the level of vitriol about Libya or Afghanistan that there was in 2006, 2008 from the Democrats, because there's no question that they flipped the Congress and the Senate in 2008 over the war. That was a winning issue for them. I don't know, maybe
most of them voted for it.
Exactly, and in the 70s, the Vietnam War was promptly defunded when Congress flipped to Democrats. That didn't happen in 2006. So you're right. They re-upped the funding for the war, and surprise, surprise, we really weren't going to end the war after all. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know why they don't go there at this point. I think there's been some third-party PAC activity with regard to Obama's cozy relationship to the Muslim Brotherhood and excuse me, Hillary's assistant, what is her name, Huma, Weiner's wife. That's out there. I think there's some stuff out there about releasing the blind sheikh back to Egypt, but you don't see that from the mainstream, main campaign from Romney and Ryan right now. Yeah.
Well, I think mainstream media. It's not fed to the mainstream media. There are some places out there, like your show, our show, and you see it on Twitter. There's a lot of people outraged, but there's not a lot of people that hold mainstream media accountable. They just get outraged at the.
I mean, even Fox News. I was watching The Five the other day, and the subject of the blind sheikh being released, back to Egypt or something came up, and they just sort of poo-pooed it. They said, well, I read about it in the Blaze, and the Blaze is kind of a funny paper as far as issues are concerned, and I mean, I can't believe that that's the extent to which they just sort of shoved it away. That's a big deal. That's a big issue to some people. This guy was responsible for the first volley of World Trade Center bombings. And Democrats have a pattern of handing terrorists back to, their host country and just sort of, waiting for the shit to hit the fan later and for them to do something worse. So, this is Bill Clinton all over again. But I don't know why they don't engage on that, and they don't seem to get the backing from even their their sympathetic press like Fox News, which wouldn't even touch the blind shake thing.
Earlier in the show, we talked about how Obama has to come out and address the nation on this issue, like Reagan did when we had a crisis in the Middle East. And, I said, hey, I think Romney should come out. The guy's interviewing for a job. He's interviewing for president of the United States. I think he should come out, buy time. That's what he's on a net, come out and address the country. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do think there are probably internal polls on both sides, which tell a vastly different story from, even what Rasmussen is saying right now, which I think on any given day he's got Romney up by 1 or 2 points. I think there's a sense of real confidence, despite what you read about turmoil and mutiny in the Romney campaign. I think there's a real sense of confidence that they're making slow, steady progress with their message, and I think they're just reluctant to start grasping at straws and just start pulling these free radicals into the situation, because I don't believe they think they need a game changer in their heart of hearts. And we may be sitting on the sidelines looking at it and saying, hey guys, go for the jugular here. You got to talk about what they did to that ambassador, before they drag him through the streets and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, that story is out there. Does that work in a campaign? I really don't know. I mean, there's reasons why they're not going there, and I just don't know what they are.
And I'm wondering if I remember Obama when he reinvented that presidential-looking, and he started when he gave that speech, and he got hit saying, "Hey, look, you're not president. Why are you reinventing the seal, trying to make it look that way?" So I'm wondering if Romney's not coming out addressing the nation because they're afraid of the same criticism. Oh, he's trying to,
Yeah, I think once in a while he shows flashes of that. I mean, I think he's trying to engage on Israel, where Obama is messing around with Talk Like a Pirate Day. I think people genuinely understand. You saw that picture, right? Drudge. So I think people and Jewish voters, dare I say, are starting to look at that. I think that there is some effort, at least from the PAC side of the fence, where they're trying to pull some of that so far solid, loyal Jewish voting base away from Obama. I think it's working. I think the evangelicals. I don't know if you guys mess around with social conservatism, but I'll throw my 50 cents in worth on that. I think the evangelicals are looking at the black vote right now, and you had seen maybe 89% or something, which was in Obama's camp back in 2008, and now it's come down by about 10 points. So there's some opportunities there. So I think there are some things that are happening either officially in the campaign or elsewhere with regard to Israel, Jewish voters, black voters, evangelicals, social conservatives. I think these have a chance of kind of all gelling and maybe making for the difference that he's going to need to pull this out in November.
Clint, did you have something?
No, I agree. I think that's all. Those are all valid points, and I agree with the black vote also. As far as he's pulling some of those numbers, Romney's able to pull some of those numbers, and I think that is a resource that the Republican Party can tap into even more this time, especially like you were talking about with the social conservative movement.
I mean, look, and do you think that Univision would have done what they did if Obama had the Hispanic vote in the bag? I mean, they understand where their viewers are coming from, and I don't think that they're going to go out there and they're going to misrepresent the people that watch that network. I mean, I think if you want a window to the soul of the Hispanic voter, it's that Obama sold them down the river with regard to immigration. So, there's another example right there where you've got this base where everybody agrees that, they're going to go lock, stock, and barrel for Democrats. I just don't buy it. And that's why I think a lot of this, polling methodology is flawed. I think, the oversampling of Democrats by 10, 12%, whatever they're doing to sort of, skew minority voters. I think that all gets thrown out the window, and it ends up looking a lot more like, 2010 than 2008. Anyway, I got to run, guys. It's been fun.
Hey, John.
Thanks for calling in.
It's great. And,
all right, you bet. We'll catch you some other time, and we'll talk about radio and other stuff in Twitter or somewhere else. So.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
So it's a good call. Why don't we take a break? We'll close out the show.
Sarcasm Radio.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. We're fortunate enough to have our friend Vanessa do our news briefs. If you like her news briefs, she is a voiceover talent. Check out Platinum Vocal Cords. She has over 15 years radio and voiceover experience. Graduated Northwestern State University with a liberal arts degree. Don't let that scare you, folks. She is a true sackhead. Please check her out. Again, that's PlatinumVocalCords.com. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Sean from Sackheads Radio. I want to talk to you a minute about our friends over at HomefrontHugs.com. They're an amazing organization of volunteers who take their time, effort, and money to take care of our troops overseas as they serve our great nation. HomefrontHugs.com. You can donate, write letters to troops, adopt a troop, you name it, you can do it. Help those wonderful folks who protect our freedoms. Go to HomefrontHugs.com. Tell them Sackheads Radio sent you.
Hey guys, it's Sean from Sackheads Radio. I know I've said it before. Check out our friends at conservativeoutcry.net, but I really mean it. If you want interesting and exciting political commentary and analysis, that is the place to get it. Different, always spot on, always truthful, never pulling a punch. conservativeoutcry.net. Tell Rooster to get Bulldog back on and that Sackheads Radio sent you. And also, coming soon, the Sackheads Radio Forum on conservativeoutcry.net.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint. I want to take this opportunity to thank all the wingnut leaders throughout the world to give our men and women of the armed forces a job, as well as all the anarchists, terrorists, and Occupy folks that give our men and women in uniform on the home front, firefighters, law enforcement personnel, and first responders, job security here in the States as well. So thank all you wingnuts out there. This is Sackhead Clint saying have a good day.
Due to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
3, 2.
I love how you're still doing the countdown. We discussed previously that it's completely unnecessary.
Hey, now welcome back, our true professionals, Clint and Sean.
I don't know what they can do. Stuff happening. It's just not even right. That's fine, though. I mean, look at you on your partner that way. I can see through it again. We're back. Last 10 minutes probably going to be shorter because I can tell by that look on your face. What are your final thoughts on the Middle East? What do you think is going to happen?
What do I think? What do I want?
How do you think it's going to? Well, what do you want to happen?
I can't say right now.
How do you? No. Do you?
No,
do
look.
you think this will hurt him in the polls? On top of what he should be doing.
Here's what I want to happen. I want all funding in the Middle East because I don't know why we're sending money to Egypt. I think we spend a lot of money in that Egypt or in that region, and they just.
When you buy a house, you have to invest in it.
Exactly. Yeah. No. They kill us. So I would like to explore our own energy resources here in this country and gain energy independence.
I would love to. And I think
that this should be treated as these incidents be treated as acts of war, not as crimes. Where we're sending evidence to games over there. Look, I think that it could hurt President Obama and it could help Mitt Romney. What's going on in the Middle East right now? I think that Mitt Romney should bring more attention to this, and I think that I said it before in the show. I think that he should address the nation on it, not like he's sitting from the office or anything like that. But I think he needs to bring it up. Hey,
release a video.
Yeah,
do something.
Look, hey, listen. The Middle East is on address it at his rallies. The Middle East is on fire. You know, we as Americans need to come together under attack as a whole. We are not under attack as Republicans or as Democrats. We are under attack as Americans. This is not a political issue. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an American issue. And I am the one who can take the lead on this. And then we can make it through and get together on it. Because look, terrorism is something that scares people, which is the whole point of terrorism. But if you have a terrorist attack in American interests in the Middle East, obviously the terrorists still want to kill us, and we still have threats. So I think that because people are scared or terrorism is still a concern for people, I think that the president or Mitt Romney should address the American people. I said Mitt Romney is going for a job interview. He's trying to become the president of the United States, and while I don't think he should step on the toes of the president and take over the president's job by addressing these issues and so forth, Congress or those, I mean, he's not briefed in as the president is, but I think he can come out and say, hey, listen, this is an American issue. We need to come together on this, and I'm there to lead.
Well, the president doesn't attend half of his briefings anyhow.
He doesn't, more than half, and the president hasn't come out to address the American people on this issue either. To use it as a political piece, which I understand, but he needs to make this an American issue as a whole.
I think, like you said, he's interviewing for a job. It gives people a good idea of how he would have responded with, given what he knows. Come out and show leadership, and you don't have to necessarily step on the president's toes, which at this point might as well, because what difference does it make in that regard? But be on the offensive with this. Use this. Say, hey, look at how weak he was. Look how quick they were ready to apologize to the people in the Middle East for our freedoms.
A movie as opposed to
holding people accountable.
Exactly.
We're actually killing people, killing our people. And this is what I would have done, X, Y, and Z, whatever his plan was. I think he does get a bump out of this. I think this is a great opportunity for him to pick up undecideds who are still on the fence, which would make him an undecided. It's a redundant statement. But I think it's a good independent voter. I think some independent puts get over. Honestly, I think they'll get some of the Democrat voters, because there are going to be Democrats who, when they pay attention to how the response was, how quickly we were trying to make this about what it wasn't instead of us being attacked for our freedoms, I think there are going to be some Democratic voters that are going to walk away from him. And he could do all that and strike while the iron is hot. And honestly, if Jay Carney doesn't give him enough fodder for commercials and stuff like that.
Did you say fodder?
Fodder.
Oh.
As bull crap. And BS that he likes to throw out, then he's missing a huge opportunity there. He could just have a whole video.
Jay Carney is a
douchebag.
Okay.
I believe that's exactly what his...
I just wanted to hear you say that.
Too. Jay Carney, professional douchebag. So, are we going to do a show tomorrow night?
I don't know.
We may do a show tomorrow night.
Probably not.
If you're drunk, can't walk, and you want to stick your head in the computer for a little while, we may be here.
Drunk with you?
Yeah, might as well at that point. I appreciate everyone calling in. Thank you to Camille for working on our phones tonight. We will be back maybe tomorrow night, maybe next Friday. Check us out, sackheadsradio.com.
Camille, do you want to say anything to listeners?
She's shaking her head.
She just said, and now, no. That's Sackhead, Camille.
Click Sackheads forums, and you can share in our forums. We're trying to get those back up. Follow us on Twitter at Sackheads, and we are on Facebook, facebook.com/Sackheads.
If you haven't had a chance to go to our website and read the article posted this week by Sackhead Michaela, check it out.
Discusses our two-party system. It was very well written. I think a lot of people would be interested, so share it. So that is it for us tonight. Clint, as always, I appreciate you being a pain.
Hi, guys. That guy. You think you could hire him?